Right now, a war is being fought that most people cannot see. No missiles, no soldiers, no borders being crossed. But the outcome of this war will determine which country controls the global economy, the world's militaries, and the future of artificial intelligence. It is the chip war, and it is happening right now. This is the full story of how a tiny piece of silicon became the most powerful object in the world, and why one island holds all the power.
Before we talk about who is winning, you need to understand what a chip actually does. A semiconductor chip is a tiny slice of silicon, smaller than a fingernail, containing billions of microscopic transistors. Those transistors switch on and off billions of times per second to process information. Every calculation ever made by a modern computer, phone, car, weapon, or AI system runs on these transistors. The smaller the transistor, the more you can fit on a chip, the faster and more powerful it becomes.
Today, the most advanced chips have transistors just 2 nanometers wide. That is roughly the width of 10 silicon atoms placed side by side. This is not engineering. This is the manipulation of matter at the edge of what physics allows. And only one company on Earth has mastered this at scale. Taiwan's Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, TSMC, is the most critical company in the world that most people have never heard of. In 2025, TSMC generated revenue of $121.4 billion. 74% of that revenue came from chips made at 7 nanometer and below, the most advanced chips on Earth. 73% of the entire global advanced foundry market belongs to TSMC. 73,000 people work at TSMC. That is fewer employees than a large hospital. Yet this company controls the technology inside virtually every device you own.
Apple designs its own chips, but TSMC manufactures them. NVIDIA designs the AI chips powering every major artificial intelligence system in the world. TSMC manufactures them. The US military's most advanced guidance systems, communication satellites, and electronic warfare platforms all depend on chips that TSMC makes. 75% of TSMC's revenue comes from North America. The most powerful military and technology nation on Earth is completely dependent on a company located 180 kilometers from mainland China.
Now here is the question that keeps defense strategists awake at night. How does TSMC make chips that no other company on Earth can replicate? The answer is a machine called an EUV lithography system. EUV stands for extreme ultraviolet. It is the most complex manufacturing tool ever built by human beings. This machine shoots a laser at a tiny droplet of tin 50,000 times per second, creating a plasma that emits a specific wavelength of ultraviolet light. That light is then bounced through a series of ultra-precision mirrors to etch circuit patterns onto a chip with nanometer-level accuracy. The system requires vibration isolation so extreme that even a person walking nearby can disrupt the process. Only one company in the world builds this machine: ASML, a company headquartered in Eindhoven, a small city in the Netherlands with a population under 250,000 people. ASML's EUV systems cost somewhere between $150 and $200 million each, depending on configuration. They are assembled from components supplied by companies across more than 30 countries. The machines are so large and complex that delivering a single unit requires multiple cargo aircraft.
Without ASML's EUV machine, no company on Earth can manufacture chips below 7 nanometer.
China understands this, and for years, China has been trying to acquire or replicate EUV technology. In June 2026, Reuters reported that the United States had raised concerns that an ASML EUV tool may have reached China, highlighting how active and sensitive this technology transfer question remains. The United States pressured ASML and the Netherlands government to restrict sales of EUV systems to China. China has not received a single ASML EUV machine. China has received more than $100 billion in government support for its semiconductor industry. In 2024, China purchased $41 billion of chip-making equipment, the largest buyer of such equipment in the world.
The result, after all this spending? SMIC can now produce chips at 7 nanometer. Barely. With weak yields and using older ASML immersion tools, not EUV. The world's leading edge is already at 2 nanometer. China is not catching up. The gap is widening. Reuters reported in February 2026 that China's second-largest chipmaker, Huahong, was only just preparing for 7 nanometer production.
The United States recognized this as a national security emergency. In 2022, Congress passed the CHIPS and Science Act, authorizing $52.7 billion in funding to rebuild American semiconductor manufacturing. TSMC is building multiple fabs in Arizona. Samsung is building a major chip plant in Texas. Intel is expanding domestic production. These projects are scheduled to ramp through the mid to late 2020s, creating a more resilient U.S. chip supply for the first time in decades. The United States is also using export controls as a weapon, cutting China off from the most advanced chip-making tools, software, and components needed to close the gap.
Now, one more country has entered the game. India announced the India Semiconductor Mission with 76,000 crore rupees in funding, the largest technology manufacturing push in Indian history. In May 2025, India approved a $435 million HCL Foxconn semiconductor plant near Jawar Airport in Uttar Pradesh, with capacity to produce 20,000 wafers per month when it opens in 2027. American chip memory giant Micron is building a $2.7 billion chip packaging plant in India. Tata Group, which has quietly become India's most ambitious industrial conglomerate, is investing $11 billion in chip manufacturing and testing. India is not yet making the most advanced logic chips, but in packaging and testing, where chips are assembled and verified after fabrication, India is building real capacity right now. India's entry matters for one critical reason. It gives the democratic world another node in the supply chain, reducing the concentration of global chip manufacturing in a single island that sits 180 kilometers from an adversary with the world's largest army.
Now the question that everyone is avoiding. What actually happens if China moves on Taiwan? If Taiwan's chip production was disrupted, even for months, the impact on the global economy would be severe. Electronics, automotive, AI infrastructure, defense systems, and industrial equipment would all face immediate and severe supply shocks. There is no immediate replacement for what TSMC produces. The Arizona fabs will not be operational at full scale until the late 2020s. China knows this timeline.
TSMC is protected not just by Taiwan's military. It is protected by the fact that destroying or seizing it would trigger economic devastation for every country on Earth, including China, which still depends on TSMC chips for many of its own industries. This mutual dependency is the most powerful deterrent in the world today. Not nuclear weapons, not military alliances. A factory in Taiwan
that every nation on Earth cannot function without.
The chip war is the defining technological and geopolitical competition of the 21st century. TSMC holds the present. ASML holds the key. China is locked out. America is racing to build alternatives. India is entering for the first time. And one small island remains at the center of everything. The outcome of this war will be written not on battlefields. It will be written in silicon, in nanometers, in clean rooms, and in the decisions made by governments and companies over the next 10 years.